Hey guys, and welcome to another review today. And this time, another movie I actually managed to get a chance to see in New York was Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. Although this movie, unlike Sound of Freedom, is very much available here in Poland, I just wasn't patient enough and I had to go see it in New York since it was played. And what I think of Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1? I liked it. I'm not necessarily going to jump on the bandwagon that some people are saying best Mission Impossible movie ever, fantastic. No, I won't go that far. I still think Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol as well as Mission Impossible Fallout, I still think those two movies are actually much better movies than this newest Mission Impossible. I think Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, I will somewhere put it like my third favorite Mission Impossible movie. Ghost Protocol and Fallout are still my two favorites. And in general, the Mission Impossible franchise, the franchise I really like, and I think it's a great action franchise. But I don't think I'm as crazy about it as some people say. Like, if I had to compare a franchise that's often Mission Impossible is often compared to, which is James Bond, I think James Bond is a much better franchise overall. Although Mission Impossible is certainly more consistent in quality, since I can't think of a single bad Mission Impossible movie, while there have been plenty and plenty of bad James Bond movies. But the best James Bond movies are much better than anything Mission Impossible. So Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, first the positives. Like, the action here is spectacular, and as many people, probably other reviewers already have said, like, they really went overboard with action. Like, there is a famous chase scene of Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt, fighting in Rome and running around. That scene that was in the trailer. And of course there's a car chase. And there is even a train fight, both on the train and inside the train. Yeah, like, there is... So yes, in this movie, they very much went over the board with action, and it's obvious they wanted to go above and beyond and include as many different action scenes as possible. And they did. And the action scenes here are great, and they're so well choreographed, and they're so well done, well shot. I love all the action scenes here, yeah. So in terms of action, at least, I think this is indeed the best Mission Impossible movie out there. But where I have to disagree in terms of the best, I think, is the story. Because the story of this movie isn't necessarily bad, but I think that Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol and Mission Impossible Fallout had much better stories. What I do like about the story in this movie is that a new villain is basically something called the Entity, which is basically an artificial intelligence, a very, very advanced and smart computer that thinks for itself. And this is actually pretty cool. This is not something that Mission Impossible movies have done before. Like, before that, all the main villains were like terrorists, weapon dealers, evil agents, but all humans. This is the first time Mission Impossible actually decided to use like a very advanced, crazy computer, kind of like Skynet from the Terminator. So yeah, this is really cool, and I'm really looking forward to see what they do with it. But this is also a slight problem, because the way they constantly talked about and described the Entity, it was confusing actually at times, and I really hope that Dead Reckoning Part 2 actually explores a lot more about the Entity, because I'm curious to really know more about it. But I think that the way this movie described how it works and all was a little bit convoluted, so I hope we get more information. But overall, I really love the actual idea of the Entity, a very advanced computer gone rogue. I love that idea. And as for the performances, Tom Cruise, well, he's very good in the role of Ethan Hunt, but I have to be honest, Ethan Hunt, well, a pretty cool character, he was never like one of my favorite protagonists. Because Mission Impossible movies were always more about seeing Ethan Hunt being a badass as opposed of making him some super deep, complex character. I actually think the much better character in this one is a new character, Grace, played wonderfully by Hayley Atwell. Like, yeah, Hayley Atwell does a phenomenal job as Grace, and Grace is a pretty awesome character. Like Grey's an awesome character. She's badass and she's also very smart and she uses so much of her wits. And most of all, she's like one of those female characters that's so wonderful. And not because a terrible movie script is telling us so, like sadly seems to be with some modern movies. So yes, Grace, played by Hayley Atwell, was an awesome character and I really can't wait to see more of her in Dead Reckoning Part 2. And another slight problem I had with the movie was the new human villain. Yeah, the main villain is technically now the Entity, but there was also a new human villain who was obviously someone from Ethan Hunt's past, but at the same time, I feel that they didn't give him much characterization. Like, I really think that this new human villain could totally benefit from more depth and characterization because he kind of felt bland, like Kurt Hendricks or Solomon Lane. Those guys were really awesome villains and probably my favorite ones in the Mission Impossible, but I feel that this guy seemed a little bland and I don't even remember his name now as a result, but I also hope that maybe they will improve on that in Dead Reckoning Part 2. And that's also something that I don't know if that's really a problem because cliffhangers are awesome, but also this movie ended in the exact same way that Through the Spider-Verse ended, which means that Across the Spider-Verse ended, which means that it ended on a huge cliffhanger. Like, it didn't even resolve any plot lines. No, it ended basically in the middle of the story, right in the middle of the story. And now we are stuck waiting a whole year to see the conclusion. And on one hand, I really love those type of cliffhangers, but at the same time, it can be a torture to wait a whole year. But overall, I think Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is a really good action thing with great action and some interesting ideas, but I think the story could do some improvement and I'm really hoping that they do it in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2. And I'm really glad Tom Cruise follows on his promise, which is his goal is just to entertain the audience. Like, he definitely did it in Top Gun Maverick last year, and now here in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Okay guys, so here is my review of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And because tomorrow we are getting two movies that everyone is talking about, Barbie and Oppenheimer, and I'm going to see them both totally tell you guys what I think about both movies. And I will do my very best to give you both reviews on the same day, because yeah, these are two movies that are coming out at the same time that lots and lots of people are excited for. So I'll do my very best to get the reviews of Barbie and Oppenheimer around the same time for you guys. So yeah, and press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, tell me what did you think of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Did you like it? Is it your favorite Mission Impossible movie? Or do you prefer others like me? And talk to you soon in either a Barbie or Oppenheimer review. Bye!